Hello, everyone. I'm Carolyn, and this is Acrobatic Arts. We are here today, thrilled to be talking to Sally White from Wellington, New Zealand, all about studio exams. Welcome, Sally.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. So can you tell me a little bit about yourself, about your studio, how long it's been in operation, those kind of things?
Sure, cool. So we're SWPT and we're an acrobatic dance studio in Wellington, New Zealand. We've got about 250 students now and we mostly teach acro. So we've got 35 acro classes a week and we have a few dance classes just to supplement that. So we've got hip hop and lyrical, but they're all just open classes. We're mostly acro. Yeah.
I was going to ask you what the focus of your studio is. So it's mostly acro. Do you focus on exams, competition, performances?
Exams mostly. I mean, we tried to get into the competition world a little bit in the last 2 years, but with COVID, there's not many dance competitions around. So we've kind of got that on the back burner. We do it, we have got a performance team, but we haven't done many competitions. But yeah, we're mostly there for exams, the syllabus work. Yeah.
Awesome. So what introduced you, or when were you introduced to acrobatic arts, and what appealed to you about acrobatic arts?
So I was teaching in another studio about 7 years ago now, and there was just no acro around in New Zealand at all. And I googled and I came across acrobatic arts. And so at the time I actually purchased the syllabus and just used that. And then I left the dance school deciding that I wasn't going to teach anymore. And I just kept coming back to acro. I just love acro so much. And then I started a class, just an acro class with 8 kids in it. And it's obviously snowballed in the last 6 years. And I saw that there was a Module 1 certification in Perth. And so I decided to do that. And yeah, here we are.
We're so glad you did. Can you tell us a little bit more about your certification in Module 1, why you decided to get certified, what that meant for you?
Yeah, so when I just had the syllabus, I just purchased it and had it on the iPad, and I wasn't overly sure how to run a class using it. And so that was a big motivation, was just to sort of get those class plans underway to start with. And then when I went to the course in Perth, my eyes were opened, and it was, we had to do exams. It just made sense. It really was a good fit for us.
So speaking of exams, when did you start running? You became certified, you were using the syllabus. When did you start running acrobatic arts exams in your studio?
Yeah, so I think I was certified in maybe 2016 or 17, I can't remember now. But we started that very next year, we started exams. And yeah, we've had 4 lots of exams, 2 in person and 2 online. And in saying that, last year we actually had an extra exam session because one of our students was unwell, and so she jumped in with another dance school to do their exams later in the year so she could keep up with her class. So yeah, had a kind of a 5th one, which is awesome.
So why do you do exams for your students year after year?
I feel like it's a really good way to set goals. I think that if they've got something to strive towards, they certainly work harder. I know that our kids that do exams do a lot better than our kids that don't do exams. They definitely improve a lot faster. I also do it because it's a way to sort of check skills off the kids, rather than just being me all the time saying, yeah, okay, you've got your walkover, that's fine, as opposed to, someone else saying, yes, you've got it, but, you still need to work on your turnout, or watch you're not crunching in your lower back or something like that. Coming from somebody else, the students listen to them sometimes more than you because they see you every day, and they improve so much more because they've got more feedback and more to strive towards. Yeah.
Do you feel like for your studio in general, for the parents and the students and yourself even, it just creates a standard and an expectation and even credibility?
Absolutely, yeah. The grading, the kids just strive for that distinction. That's what they really go for, that medal that they get for distinction with acrobatic arts, and that is a huge goal for so many of our students. And it's really cool, the extra work that they put in to do, to get that is just, it pays off so much. They're practicing at home, every day. They're doing the homework that we set them. They're coming to the extra lessons and things like that because they want to improve, and it pays off. It really does. So if we didn't have those exams in place, they wouldn't do the extra work and they wouldn't be where they're at. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get it. Now, what has your experience been with exams? I know you mentioned, and maybe you can recap on that again, how many years, the experience that your kind of need to know what the experience of your dancers has been as well. Like, how has that been for you overall, that whole exam experience?
Yeah, so we've done 4 years. The very first year we had Miss Sandra, and she came out from Canada. And so that was huge for us, having someone from Canada to New Zealand was big in itself, And my senior students came out saying that it felt more like a workshop than an exam for them. They learned so much in that exam, which is really cool. We've got, exam syllabuses in New Zealand that they can do, but they're a bit more strict, as you probably have overseas as well. They're not as enjoyable, and all of my students have come out beaming. There's no one that comes out crying like they used to in the old syllabuses, and they just love it. And even we had 2 years in person. We had Miss Penny the second year, and then we've had Miss Megan online. And even online, they still come out learning things. They've grown and within their exam. It's not just an exam. It's really cool.
That is some big validation for their experience and for yours. What a gift that is. So I'm curious to know what the benefit to your dancers' acro development as a result of them doing exams has been. What development have you seen, their improvements in their skills through that exam process?
Yeah, so I think that they become more all-rounded. I had a student who didn't do exams for a couple of years, and she just couldn't get her headstand. She didn't like doing headstands, and she wouldn't do them. I've got her doing exams now, and now she can do headstands like no other child in the studio. She's really good at them. But had she not done the exam, she wouldn't have ever needed to do that TDB stand, to do that straddle headstand or anything like that. And her balancing skills have just soared now because she's had to do them. And I think, acrobatic arts is so well-rounded. You have to do your strength, your flexibility and everything. And I think you need all that, whereas lots of kids, if they just do a tumbling class, they don't get all the extra bits and pieces. That's, I think, made our dancers more rounded. That makes sense, yeah.
It does, which brings me to the question, do you really notice a difference with dancers that don't take exams through acrobatic arts compared to those that do?
Absolutely, yeah. So we actually have a rule in our studio that you don't skip level 2. I just feel like there's so many fundamental skills in the level 2 exam. So we prefer that they're done primary and they've done level 1, but level 2 does not get skipped. So if you want to do level 3 that year as well, you do level 2 as well, And I think that sort of, made them have those standards. They have to reach those standards to progress, and so they're progressing safely and more technically, proficient, I guess. They're doing better because they're doing the exams. The kids that don't do the exams, they kind of just sit in the same level. They don't want to really get better. They just want to do acro, So, but we encourage the exams for sure.
It makes total sense to me. So knowing that exams is such a big part of your experience, standards for your studio, for your students, with the pandemic in play, how has that impacted your regular scheduled exams?
Yeah, so last 2 years ago, we were doing our exams in term 3. So in New Zealand, we've got 4 school terms, and term 3, which is sort of September, around about then we do exams. When COVID hit, we switched it to our exams in December, so we had an extra term, and we stuck with it last year, even though COVID wasn't as bad for us here. And we had some challenging times. We've been in lockdown, obviously, like everybody else has. We've done a lot of Zoom work as well, but because the syllabus is in place, we've got the photos to share with children, we've got the videos to share with kids. We can still teach a lot, and we had a lockdown not long before our exams this year, and we still got a lot of distinctions. We still did really well, and I think it just changed the way you deliver it. Yes, we can't spot students, but there's a lot of progressions that you can put in place. You don't need to be spotting the students. We still managed to do really, really well, I think, without having to be running a normal class. We still managed to do it, yeah.
Fair. Now, you are a studio well-versed in exams. You've gone from doing in-person exams to online exams. Did you have any fear or hesitations about doing online exams for your students?
Yeah, I did. I was actually more nervous about, speaking to the examiner if there was something I needed to check with her first, or, to let her know about a student that maybe had a learning disability or something like that, and how I would get that across, and whether the students would be able to still understand the examiner and things like that. But no, it's, we had Miss Megan, and she was just fantastic. She makes the students feel at ease the second they walk into the room. She's bubbly, and all of our examiners so far have been like that. And it's a real credit to Acrobatic Arts. They're all really well trained, and the kids they love it. They still come out smiling. I had one come out saying, "Oh, can I go back in and do it again?" That's really, really cool. It's not been a worry. I was nervous, but we'll do it again and again. And I think a lot of our students, especially the ones who are a bit more shy, have actually preferred their online exams. It's not so scary walking into the room with somebody you don't know, and they've loved it. They enjoy the online. So, yeah.
That is super, super interesting to me. And it's not the first time that I've heard a teacher respond that their students have said, "Can I go back and do it again?" That's inspiring.
Yeah,
So, yeah, absolutely. What would you tell a studio owner who's holding off on exams because their students have been on and off being in the studio?
I would say just do it. I had a friend who I actually met at my Module 1 certification, and she's got a dance school up in Auckland, and they've been in lockdown the whole way from August up until the exams in December, and she decided to put her students through exams with my students. They jumped in on our exam session, which is really, really cool, and her students both came out with distinction. They were both fantastic, and it just shows it doesn't, you don't need to be in person. They can still pick things up really well if you're putting them at the right level. There's no point in rushing kids ahead as, Acrobatic Arts stretches. So if you put them at the level of the skills that they're at, then they're going to be fine. There's no worries. And I think it's, especially with the pandemic, it's really cool to still be able to have goals. Kids still need things to work towards. And if you don't have anything to work towards, you get lazy and, you don't improve. So I think it's actually, been really, really good to have that there with the pandemic.
Awesome. I agree. Having a goal, something to work towards is super important. So what would you tell a studio owner or a teacher who's not convinced about starting to run exams through Acrobatic Arts through their studio?
I think you'll see a lot of improvement if you do. I think if I can see that within my studio, the kids that don't do the exams don't improve as much. They really will improve. And I think it will help them, all over. If you're a competition studio, then your kids' technique will improve and it will be matching more because they're all trying to get that same goal. So I think it's worth doing. I wouldn't change it. We're gonna keep on going for sure.
So do you think online exams are a good way of getting started for a teacher or a studio that's never run an exam before? Is online a good way to go?
I think it is, and I think a funny thing to say, but when you've got the examiner here, you've got to host them. So you pick them up, and you get them lunch ready, and you do the morning tea and the afternoon tea and things as well. And with having them online, you don't do all of that. So it's less work for you as a teacher on exam day. You can focus more on your students and getting them ready, getting their hair done, putting their numbers on and things. So I think online's a really good way to start, and it's probably a better way to go, to be honest.
It's amazing what this big pivot has created, the opportunities that it's created, challenges for many people. We understand that, but some great things have come from it in terms of how we pivot and how we do business and how we keep things going in times of adversity. So I would have to agree with you. So thank you so much for all that. Is there anything else that you would want to share about your experience with exams with Acrobatic Arts that we didn't cover on?
No, I think we're good. I'm really, really happy that I've chosen to go with Acrobatic Arts. I mean, I now know that there's other acro syllabuses out there, and I still would stick with Acrobatic Arts. They're so well-rounded. I've taught for exam syllabuses and many other ones, and as a dancer myself, been through, other syllabuses too, and I just feel that this is the best one that I've come across. I just love the excitement that it builds in my studio, and how happy my dancers are when they come from exams, and I just think that's really, really cool. You don't get that anywhere else. Yeah. Thank you. Really cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sally. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you'd like more information about exams, please reach out to us at admin@acrobaticarts.com or visit our website at acrobaticarts.com.